tell them there ain't no man I fear. Taking my time but watching close. What they been saying about my flows? I gotta get my revenge, I'm proving them wrong and counting them O's. Whoa, putting that game in a chokehold. Never been paying for promo. Put a Rolex on my mama wrist, got diamonds, calling them stone cold. Got my bro rich, I got my girl rich, so everyone good in my circle. I started from scratch and made these ends by putting my name on the logo, yeah. I be living with a vacation, I made Miami my zip code. Life been looking like the Travel Channel, they watching everywhere that I go. From Dubai out to Tokyo, then to Monaco, I done seen the most. I was sitting next to Kanye, said you changed my life, had to let him know. Made the beat, I had to switch it up, never needed nobody help. Remember when they didn't show me love, I had to get it all by myself. Still be thinking about the late nights, I was working overtime, losing rest. Nowadays I be sleeping good, knowing that the rest of my life is set. Made my net worth triple double like Westbrook, the way that I invest. Making music turn to a hobby now, cause I really don't need the bread. Could be sitting on the court side for a whole season when I'm breaking sweat. Used to buy that designer shit, but now I be wearing them Nike sweats. Getting older and more wise, changing what I prioritize. I be chilling inside the crib, I don't waste my time buying bottle signs. Used to flex when I was young, now I don't care to go post online. I'll be focused on finding peace all 2025. I got paranoia, I've been getting older. I cannot explain what's inside my mind. Devil on my shoulder, I don't really know ya. I just wanna be by myself tonight. Cause I got paranoia, I've been getting older. I cannot explain what's inside my mind. Devil on my shoulder, I don't really know ya. I wanna be alone tonight. All eyes on me, everything I do I'm all they see. But I know my mind play tricks on me, so I just go drink slowly. I let my thoughts all come to a rest. I'm too focused on being the best. Lay in bed and my mind racing, I found clarity and made it a mess. Put my problems inside of the music, know somebody gonna relate to it. I've been too hard on myself, that's the only way I'm gonna get through it. I see better days, but I feel like I've been stuck in a maze. I know that I'll find my way out until that moment. I got paranoia, I've been getting older. I cannot explain what's inside my mind. Devil on my shoulder, I don't really know ya. I just wanna be by myself tonight. Cause I got paranoia, I've been getting older. I cannot explain what's inside my mind. Devil on my shoulder, I don't really know ya. I wanna be alone tonight, yeah. Still feel lost even though I made it. Some days I just feel irritated, mad at the world but I don't know why. Somebody please explain it. Use the music as therapy, feeling like my own enemy. Lot of battles inside of me, but I call my fam and they reminded me everything I done so well. Where am I headed? Only time will tell. I know I'ma make my way back to the top when I fight through hell. Yeah, back to the grind, I'ma focus. God gave battles to the ones who chosen. I know I'ma be alright until that moment. I got paranoia, I've been getting older. I cannot explain what's inside my mind. Devil on my shoulder, I don't really know ya. I just wanna be by myself tonight. Cause I got paranoia, I've been getting older. I cannot explain what's inside my mind. Devil on my shoulder, I don't really know ya. I wanna be alone tonight, yeah. older that I get, I feel like it's not even in sight. Shows around the nation, but it started with the missed flight. Wonder if these sounds are saying I'm not made for this life. Everyone been putting on this image like they blessed now, but really they've been thinking that they'll lose it all and wake up feeling stressed out. Now everybody's spending weekends getting drunk at clubs. I'm busy working while they finding temporary love. I made the sacrifices praying that it's worth it, but I know it's gonna work and I'ma get what I deserve until I'm gone.
People gonna keep on talking about me, but they don't understand the work that I do when they're not around me. They don't understand the life I chose, the nights alone, the highs and lows. They keep on talking about me, but they don't understand.
I'm doing everything I wanted when I started off, and now I realize that this ain't what I thought it was. And everything is amazing until you got it, like that girl you really wanted, but then you wanna just cut her off. I got a problem with finally being satisfied. Everything I got, I just wanna see it be multiplied. But every day I think about the shit I take for granted. Too many people want my spot, they tryna make me panic. Nobody coming close to where I really wanna be. I'm busy working day and night, I'll never stop like Gary V. I'm coming for that MVP, aiming for that Hall of Fame. I don't mind if you don't like me, everyone gon' know my name.
People gonna keep on talking about me, but they don't understand the work that I do when they're not around me. They don't understand the life I chose, the nights alone, the highs and lows. They keep on talking about me, but they don't understand.
When it come down to it, I'ma bet on me. Ain't nobody fuck with me mentally. Talking that shit, you dead to me. Cause I ain't got time for my enemies. Told her come through, get ahead to me. Telling that truth, it'll set you free. I ain't like them, cause I'm all I need. When it come down to it, I'ma bet on me. Let me tell you right now, I'm the realest. Ain't nobody else ever do it like I did it. I ain't really had a competition in a minute. And a lot of other rappers out here flying spirit. I'ma stay consistent, feeling like a man on a mission. Ballin' like I play for the Pistons, but I'm Blake Griffin. I'ma switch cities, doing shows. I be living on the road, going all around the globe. When it come down to it, I'ma never settle. I be trying to get the bands like it's heavy metal. I'ma put my foot down, keep it on the pedal. Cause nobody ever gave me shit, I had to go and get it. I've been here for a while like a veteran. Been through a lot, but it turned me to a better man. Everything I do is me and myself. Now I gotta be a legend when I put it on the shelf. When it come down to it, I'ma bet on me. Ain't nobody fuck with me mentally. Talking that shit, you dead to me. Cause I ain't got time for my enemies. Told her come through, get ahead to me. Telling that truth, it'll set you free. I ain't like them, cause I'm all I need. When it come down to it, I'ma bet on me. Hey, this an 8-figure mindset. A lot of people want it, but they scared of the progress. I ain't from the projects, but I got my own story that a lot of y'all couldn't ever really process. Didn't when nobody would've given me a second. Now they all come around giving me a lesson. If you ain't want it back then, you ain't coming where I'm headed. I've been thinking I'm the greatest, even if nobody said it. I'm a spaz on the beat, ain't nobody that compete. In a whole different league, they ain't never catching me. I'm the only one to be calling shots for the team. If I want it, I'ma get it, there ain't nothing stopping me. Put my own money in, I don't own nobody's shit. Every week dropping hits, I don't never gotta miss. Put myself on the line, I'ma always take the risk. When it come down to it, I ain't never call it quits. When it come down to it, I'ma bet on me. Ain't nobody fuck with me mentally. Talking that shit, you dead to me. Cause I ain't got time for my enemies. Told her come through, get ahead to me. Telling that truth, it'll set you free. I ain't like them, cause I'm all I need. When it come down to it, I'ma bet on me.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to the January 9th episode of our bi-monthly stream, Security Data Operations, SecDataOps, where we talk about all things security operations, data operations, and the convergence of the two in the modern day cybersecurity team. Welcome to the first SecDataOps stream of 2025. Glad to see everybody. We've done this now for 6 months. It's been amazing. Looking forward to another year of doing more of these SecDataOps streams with you this year. Welcome to 2025, everybody. Let's hit the rules first before we jump right into it. This is our short stream. We're only going to be here for an hour, so like to keep things nice and concise and running through it. So let's hit some rules really quick before I introduce my guest for the day. First and foremost, the most important rule, zero toxicity. No toxicity. What does that mean? No racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, or otherwise toxic behavior in chat whatsoever. We are streaming live across YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. We do have moderators in each of those who are here to keep chat free of any of said, disrespectful behavior. They are not here. Moderators are not here, however, to stifle chat in any way. We highly encourage chat. We highly encourage you to talk to your fellow cybersecurity professionals throughout the entire chat. I promise you, moderators are here to make sure that chat is free from all of said behaviors. With that being said, that kind of leads us to our second rule, which is more of a guideline, which is more of like a reminder to everybody. We love questions on our streams. If you're new to Cyber Insecurity, if you're new to SecDataOps, you'll know that we're a very interactive stream. We love to talk to folks on a regular basis. We love having you here. And so questions are awesome. We love questions. One of the benefits of these streams being live is that you get to talk to myself, but more importantly, my guest here live in real time. And so therefore, we encourage those questions. Drop them in any of the platforms you happen to be tuning into us on. Drop them inside a chat at any point in time. Do not wait for a dedicated Q&A at the end. Drop your questions in at any point in time. A moderator will grab the question and push them up on the stream. I think that's it. That's my rules. That's pretty much it. It's real easy, folks. Super easy. With that being said, lay back, have fun. We got a good stream for you here today. I'm going to go ahead and welcome back to the arena after a long time absence, not just from Cyber Insecurity, but also the SecDataOps stream, my good friend, the CEO of Query AI, Matt Eberhart. Matt, happy 2025. How the hell are you, sir?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I feel like I need to wave my hands around a lot to keep up with you.
If you're going to be on a stream, you have to be animated. It's a rule. I don't make the rules.
I hear you. I'll try to keep up. I'm sure all your listeners know, but just to start off, Neal is awesome. Neal brings this same amount of energy to every interaction. It's not just streamer Neal, like it's real Neal. So thank you for being awesome. Thank you for having me back. I appreciated it. And I really enjoyed last time I came on the stream. And my favorite part, other than talking to you, was all the interaction from the community. Like a ton of people sent me notes on LinkedIn, asked me questions about how do you break into cyber or whatever. And that was really cool. So kudos to you for building such a good community.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And for those who are interested, you can hit ! guest in chat and you can get access to Matt's LinkedIn. What you just heard is he does read all your LinkedIn messages. And so he's a fantastic resource. He's been in this space for a while. Matt, I could go over your bio, but it would just be like awesome job after awesome job after awesome job. I mean, you were in early at SecureWorks. You helped build a lot of the groundwork security operations there at SecureWorks and built a lot of their sales engineering and then ultimately a lot of their product and go-to-market focus. And then you've done a ton of startup stuff there. Any notable history that you want to remind kind of the audience of as we kind of go into today's stream? I mean, it's awesome after awesome, but like any particular awesome you want to kind of share with anybody?
No, I mean, hey, I'm just like you all. I'm figuring it out every day, right? We bring our own experiences to the table and hopefully we learn something, but every day is a new day. Every day is a new day.
So with that being said, Matt, we wanted to do a prediction stream, and as you and I were preparing for this, you and I were lamenting the other day about prediction stuff, right? Whether it's a prediction stream or prediction, product, a blog or anything like that. Just generally trying to predict things in cybersecurity. You had a really hot take on that. And so I wanted to ask you, why do you think it's so hard to do predictions in the cyberspace?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard. It's hard anywhere, right? I think a lot of the predictions that I see, the ones that resonate with me, let's start with those. They tend to, I think, be often right about a trend, but it's really hard to be right about the timing of a particular trend, right? I know I'll speak for myself. Like I tend to usually think that things are going to happen like way faster than they, tend to play out. And I think that happens. I think now then there's a whole nother category of these where it's like, and I'm well aware that I'm the CEO of a cyber company saying this, but there's like, oh, that's an interesting take. That very much aligns with the product that person is representing, or the service that they're selling, and so I mean, hey, you'll hear some of that from me today, right? My personal beliefs line up very closely with what I think Query's vision and direction are. But yeah, I think in general, Neal, I definitely respect you. I mean, you had to twist my arm a little bit to get me to come here and talk about predictions.
I do, but that's because I have a belief, and this is why I asked Chad. This is why I asked Matt to be here. Is I do have a belief that he's right. He said it best in his intro, right? When I asked him about his history and his background, he's here every day, learning and growing and figuring it out as we all go. And I think that's the value of having some of these prediction type of streams, if done right. They can be informative as to what our current thought processes are, what are some of the trends we're seeing now, especially, Matt, with somebody like yourself who speaks to a lot of CISOs, a lot of VCs, a lot of investors, even fellow CEOs in the cyberspace. And so this is, again, Chad, what you're seeing here is why I like having a little bit of that push and pull when it comes to people who don't always align to me, and that's fine. We're okay with that because Matt's got a very good take. He's got lots of experience in that. And so today, Matt, I've divided our series up into two easy parts to really try to limit the pain that you've got when it comes to some of the prediction stuff. But arguably, I think the second part is going to be a little bit bigger. But one of the reasons that I like having you here is your business acumen is amazing. And so folks in chat who I've talked to ad nauseum about how important business is from cyber, great opportunity for you to drop questions in chat for Matt when it comes to business and cyber and things like that. And then the second part, Matt, is going to be your favorite topic and everybody's favorite topic here in stream, AI. So let's dive into the business lens first. I didn't know this. I had to research this. As you know, I research a lot of topics for the stream, make sure that we get a good relevant stuff. One of the unfilled predictions of 2024 was the mass consolidation of cyber vendors. Now, we saw a lot of M&A activity. Apparently this prediction came as people thought that the industry was going to really platformize. Hell, I think I made this prediction myself, last year when I wrote about it. And so from a business side, while we did see some consolidation with Sophos purchasing SecureWorks and we saw a little bit of the Wiz Google back and forth, how did you see the market from a business perspective in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think, if we had just been having a conversation around like, what do you think is going to happen around consolidation of earlier stage cybersecurity companies at the beginning of 2024, I think I would have said the same thing. Like, seemed like the market was setting up to where you would see some of that. And I would say that we did see some of that in 2024. I can send it over to you, Neal, and your mods can put it in the chat. But I actually saw a post today. I think it was by Matthew Ball, which isn't somebody that I know, but crossed my LinkedIn, that had kind of gone through and put together some of the what he called tuck-in deals from M&A activity over the last 12 months. And some of these were much larger than what I would consider to be tuck-ins. You had some big deals, you had some small deals, but I would say that I think we will continue to see some acceleration around those opportunistic acquisitions in 2025. I think if we flip that a little bit to like the conversations I'm having with CISOs and executives, like they are still very much looking for innovative solutions to the problems that they have. And they also at the same time are looking to kind of double down on the relationships that they have with their trusted partners. And so I think we'll continue to see, some consolidation, but I think, you kind of have to look underneath each deal. They're all unique, right? To really understand what's going on.
When you talk about tuck-ins, can you kind of explain for the audience who's maybe hearing that term from an M&A perspective for the first time? What do you think a tuck-in deal is? And what do you think was an example that we may have seen in 2024?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of times that's when a company gets acquired really for the technology and the talent, right? It's like they probably don't have a significant amount of revenue. Different people would probably define it differently, but usually these would be companies that have probably proven that the tech is, got what you might think of as product market fit, meaning that it's like actually solving a problem, but maybe it hasn't really started to accelerate. Revenues aren't, 2, 3, 400% growth over the last year, like their maybe their runway is not as what they want it to be. And by runway I mean maybe the startup is running out of cash, or they're looking at raising another round and trying to figure out a lot of moving parts to that, right? It's like we got to raise money, we got to take care of the employees, the stakeholders, the shareholders, the investors. We're looking, you want to raise an up round, not a down round, meaning you want to raise at a higher valuation than last time. And, oftentimes when these companies are weighing all of those options, along comes someone that's like interested in them and their tech and their talent for, whatever reason it might be. And, so I think we'll see more of those deals happening in 2025, and to some extent, it's just a representation of the space as well. Like if you look at how many cybersecurity startups there are going into 2025, like, I don't know what the exact number is, but I bet it's 10x, if not 100x more than there were going into, call it 2015, or maybe even, 2020. So as the space grows, not all of these companies are going to grow into large companies that can ultimately IPO and become a public company.
When you say, it's interesting to hear you say that you think that there's arguably more cybersecurity startups now than there were, a handful of years ago, when arguably the economy may have been better. Do you think that it is easier currently, or do you think that 2024 was a good year or a bad year for startups to kind of come into the space, especially when it comes to cybersecurity? And do you think that we'll see more startups, more net new technology startups coming in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think we will. Some of it too. It's like sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, when was it? Are you talking like when was it founded? When did they incorporate it? When did the two founders come together and start cooking on the ideas? Like, so I think actually times of rough economic periods, like let's call it, I'm trying not to use the recession word, but like let's say when the market gets kind of choppy, I think that those are historically amazing times to start a company. You see an opportunity, if you can get funding, or you can figure out how to get the funding that you need, like starting when economic conditions aren't great actually can be good, because it takes time. I've kind of collect like opinions from founders that have been there on this, and most of the founders that I've asked this question of how long does it really take to build a cybersecurity company from idea to, like, call it minimum viable product, more than 10 customers, more than some small amount of revenue, I call it $1 million of revenue, something like that. On average, it's often 4 years is what people will answer that. And what's interesting is I think that, and here I am about to make, I don't mean this as a prediction.
See, here we go.
I know you're going to bring it back to me. I'm going to hear about this a year from now from Neal. But I think that the time is the time window is going to shorten on that. Now, I don't know that it's going to shorten to like a year or 12 months. I mean, there's always outliers, like Wiz. You can look up Wiz and see, how fast they were able to get to 100 million and then 200 million. But I mean, that is a very far right outlier, right?
Yeah.
I mean, normally it takes a significant amount of time. So yeah, it's
interesting. So when we talked a little bit about that timeline, and that was awesome, and you got into a little bit of that, the struggles when it came to having to raise money, up rounds and down rounds and things like that. From that perspective, when you talk to investors, when you talk to folks who are investing in cybersecurity companies and and things like that, did you see in 2024 a slowdown of investment money coming into net new startups and things like that?
I mean, I think it's been changing over, I would call it, like the last 5 years, in the sense that there's more cybersecurity, companies, and so there was like a larger pool of potential companies to get VC dollars, and so I think what I don't know that yet. I don't have the data in front of me on like deal flow dollar amounts, but I can tell you from the conversations with VCs that I know, I think in 2024, they made sure that their bar was high, and I think that a lot of them that I'm thinking about would say that their bar had always been high, right? And so I don't know that that it was necessarily a slowdown. I think there are. Again, last year I think was a good time. I know quite a few founders that raised and raised well. Like they're certainly, maybe you have a few more conversations. Like there have been some outlier periods where it was maybe easier to raise money, like when there was a lot of capital and but I don't think 2024 necessarily was. Again, if you've got a great idea, like I wouldn't want anyone to be discouraged from pursuing, trying to start a company or raise money. Like there's a lot of willing investors out there. I think it's a great time to be building and starting a company.
So my chat, my audience, and particularly Matt Anthony would be terribly upset if I didn't press you to give an outlook for 2025. But I did read a Wall Street Journal article that did have some predictions about M&A activity, coming into 2025. And so I'm going to ask you point blank, Matt, for a prediction on 2025, what do you think the investor sentiment is in the future outlook when it comes to, tech startups and raising money and more influx of capital into the space?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that there's going to continue to be a lot of activity. I mean, I think let's focus on cyber for a second, right? I mean, there's a good bit of money raised in 2024. I think it will increase in 2025. I think that we're already seeing a pretty big focus on AI and its impact potentially to cybersecurity products. So we're seeing a lot of companies that are raising in the cyberspace right now have some sort of an AI spin to them, and I know you have an opinion on that. We can talk about that more in a few minutes. And I think just generally speaking, the outlook for 2025. From a business economic point of view, it does seem to be pretty positive. So I was reading a JP Morgan study that was looked. It was pretty large, and it was looking at mid-market companies and had surveyed CEOs there, and 70-something% of them were like extremely bullish on 2025, and it was just like very different than 2024. So more than 50% of them said that they plan to introduce new products. They're expecting to spend more money. More than 50% of them are expecting to increase their workforce. So again, I don't have the numbers right in front of me for 2024, but 2024 was a lot more pessimistic. I think there's a lot of optimism in the business space in 2025, and I'm pretty excited about that.
I think I'd agree with you. I think I'd go to bat with you on this prediction. I think I'm with you. I think that there's people are tired of kind of the current state of a flat market when it comes to this, and I think that we've seen a nice steady interest with the topic that I'm going to talk about next here in a little bit, from an AI perspective. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm pretty optimistic for 2025 on a business perspective. I'm excited to see where that's goes. So with that being said, thank you very much, Matt, for bringing your business view, aspect and kind of a personal opinion, from your experience to the chat. It's one of those things that I do think is important for us to always talk about when it comes to cybersecurity. But let's move on to mine, yours, and chat's absolute favorite topic, artificial intelligence. I have to do the pause when I talk about it, right? Because it's like everybody has to brace themselves. We're going to say the nasty word of artificial intelligence, right? But before I get too much into some of the weeds of AI, you had said something the other day. I don't know if you remember it or not. It was only 24 hours ago, but I know, you've got a lot on your plate. That I want to try to pry out of you again. One of the things that I love working with you on is that you're an incredibly pragmatic person. For those who don't know Matt, like he's, he jests about being, the CEO of Query. He is, in fact, the CEO of Query, but he doesn't have that CEO, aura about him at times. He's very, very pragmatic. And you shared your view on AI very, very recently. Do you mind rehashing a version of that for folks on the stream? What is your general take on the current state of AI?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think it's a really interesting time. Like I'm excited for it. I'm trying to soak it all in, and I definitely encourage people to pay attention to it. As far as, what's my take on it? I am pretty pragmatic. Let me start with, I think that there's going to be some significant advantages created by AI in 2025, and let me go a little deeper on that. Significant advantages for companies that choose to use AI in interesting ways to deliver their products and services. I think some significant advantages for people and users that find ways to use AI in their daily workflow. Significant advantages for both the defenders of cybersecurity as well as the attackers. In fact, you and I have had the conversation before that I think you could almost argue that the attackers might be benefiting more than the defenders right now. But I would follow that up to say it might not be what you think. I personally don't think that 2025 is the year where workers and jobs get completely disrupted by AI. You read a lot of these articles where it's people are going to lose their jobs. And I mean, look, change is inevitable. Things are always moving forward. Things are always changing. If you compare the types of jobs that there are and what the day-to-day job activities look like to 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 40 years ago, vastly different. Right? I mean, vastly different. So what I think is going to happen is that for those that are pragmatic and can really find some meaningful ways to use AI well, I think there'll be advantages. So I was thinking about this because I knew you were going to ask me this question. For anybody that hasn't been on Neal's stream, you get 10 minutes before it starts in his green room where he plays, some upbeat music. And so I was sitting there thinking about it. I'm going to give you a model because I like mental models.
Yes.
And so it just worked out this way. There's 3 things. They each start with an E. So I'm going to call it the 3 E's of how to think about AI, I think, into 2025. It's not super well thought out. So here we go.
Here we go.
First one is, let me set it up slightly more, actually. So when I mean pragmatic, think about a craftsman. Maybe it's a woodworker or a musician, or for me, I'm going to picture a chef. If you take somebody that's really skilled in a particular area, and if you give them higher quality tools, they might produce a higher quality product, right? You give a chef a world-class kitchen knife, they're probably going to produce something that's better than if you give them a plastic, airplane knife. If you've used a knife on an airplane in recent times, right, it's not going to cut very much. So I think that the tooling matters, but the person and their skills really matter. And so when I think about being pragmatic, I think about how do you take somebody that already has some skills and you give them tools that enable them to do their job better. All right. So channeling that, here's a model to think about, and I'm going to call it the 3 E's. And the E's are efficiency, effectiveness, and expansion. These are 3 areas where I think AI can make a pretty big impact in its current form in 2025. So let's talk about these. So efficiency, anybody that's used Perplexity, ChatGPT, LLMs, it can definitely create some efficiencies. And again, I'll use myself.
I was going to say, talk about some of your Perplexity experiences because you rave on Perplexity all the time.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Perplexity. I use it a lot. It's kind of become my go-to search engine these days. And it's good at some things and not good at others, just like any search engine. But if I use my experience with LLMs in particular, I like to write and I hate to write at the same time. I don't consider myself a very good writer. Now, a lot of people would be like, "Oh, that's not true. Like, you're a good writer." Whatever. Like, for me, writing, I sometimes struggle with it, and I have found like tools like ChatGPT to be really good at helping me be a better writer. Now, is it writing it for me? No, it's definitely not. Am I putting 2 sentences into it and letting it produce a blog or something that's world class? Absolutely not. Like, I'm still putting in as much effort, if not more effort, than I did before. But here's back to the efficiency. Like, I think I can shorten the amount of time. Like, the effort is still there on my part. It's still difficult for me, but I think I can do it sometimes a little bit faster. The next E is effectiveness. Using that, I do think it makes me a lot more effective at the end of the day. Like, my writing or whatever it is ultimately ends up being better. And then the last one is expansion. And this is where another place that I think is really interesting. And I'll bring a Perplexity example into this. Like, let's say you're doing research on something and you're kind of being like a detective and you're following your nose and you start going in different directions. I find that tools like Perplexity can cast a really wide net and then let you ask follow-up questions and kind of continue to go in different directions. I think it can really expand your visibility and ultimately maybe cause you to go in a completely different direction or draw some insight that you otherwise wouldn't. And so, I didn't
like
pre-wire you on this.
I like that.
Efficiency, effectiveness, expansion. What do you think?
I like that. I like that. So let's get a little bit more specific. If we had to make a prediction on each of those 3 E's, let's take them through one at a time here. What do you think would be a pragmatic, potentially realistic example of an efficiency thing that we could see AI help with in the cybersecurity space in 2025?
I think that, again, it depends, right? On, but I think if you take your higher skilled people and you've got to work through privacy issues and the data concerns and all of that. But given some tools that would let them increase their data visibility, understand that data more, move through it faster to draw interesting insights and conclusions, I think you could see significant efficiency gains. I think how do you define significant? I think it totally depends, right? It depends on the use case, the scenario, but there are definitely tools that people can use today that can enable them to move through, because security, I mean, it's often a data game, right? Yeah. It's like, how much data can I get my hands on? How do I understand it as quickly as possible? Like, what am I trying to understand? Is there badness in here? Once I understand that, how widespread is it? How sure are we? What do we need to do next? I think those are all areas where the right types of AI powered tools can be helpful. But I'm pretty, again, I'm as you know, pretty pragmatic. But I don't think that. I don't think that we're headed toward, like, and call it the next 6 months, the SOC is just going to get automated away, for instance. Which, I've seen a lot of headlines.
I was going to say, I did, of course, pulling for this, I did find, there was one, oh gosh, where was it? I did find one in here where somebody did say that one of the things that they saw were going to be completely revolutionized in 2024 was, there it is, universal AI-driven SOC automation was a prediction from 2024 because of the blow up of ChatGPT.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, listen, that's across like every industry, right? It's not just cyber. I mean, go pick any industry, and in 2024, there are people predicting that, it was going to be revolutionized. I was talking to an attorney the other day that was talking about, if you want a legal opinion from ChatGPT, good luck. You're basically going to get this very, watered down, and again, it's an attorney saying this.
Yeah.
let the attorney jokes go. But yeah, I think there's interesting. I see in the chat that somebody said, hot take that I haven't had AI reduce my false positive rate. Call me when it does. Yeah, I mean, I think that I hear people say things like that a lot, and I think again back to where can you apply it to gain some efficiency and maybe increase your effectiveness? It's not going to solve problems start to finish right now. I don't think that that's the right way to think about it. But if you can gain an advantage in effectiveness or efficiency in a particular area, great. And then if it can be used by smart people to expand their visibility, so it's bringing things to them that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have time to do, or it's offering additional data, like things like that. I think, look, it doesn't change the game. You need a very smart person on the other end of it, making decisions and deciding what to do next.
There's a very insightful question here as you're explaining those 3 E's, to chat here from CyberTies, who says, how do you balance the E's while still staying true when it comes to marketing? And remember, you've got to see Matt Anthony more than I do, so don't create a really bad, awkward situation the next time you go to dinner with Matt Anthony. But how do you balance those E's when you're trying to stay true to marketing?
Yeah, so Matt Anthony, for anybody that's wondering, is our CMO, our Chief Marketing Officer. Been in cyber for a long time, one of the best cyber marketers out there. I think you need to be very specific about what the AI is doing and how it's being used. I mean, I think there are as far as balancing between the 3, I think it depends on the situation and the use case. But like if you're saying, hey, we're going to use I'll give you a query example. Like we have a Copilot that you can use to summarize as you search. So, with query drastically expanding your data reach, you can search once, reach dozens or hundreds of distributed systems and get an answer back. Well, that means you're likely to get a lot of data for that answer. And so if you can use a Copilot to summarize that can really increase your efficiency. But so as far as how we would market that, we'd be very clear about what it's doing. We would not overhype it. Like it doesn't, what data does it have access to? What are the benefits as a user? Well, it helps me understand it and summarize it. I can ask questions. I can ask it to tell me what users might be impacted, recommend next steps. But, again, I think it's being very, very specific about the goal and being very transparent about what the tech underneath is doing. And by the way, I think that models should be applied across the board when it comes to tech, not just for AI.
But I think what we see in marketing and AI, and especially as we come into a new year, we see what we saw at the beginning of 2024. There's a hype cycle that's associated with something new and shiny and awesome, and there's a lot of attention being drawn around it, and so naturally there's a gravitas towards that focal point of excitement that forces these outlandish ideas about what that technology is capable of. And I think that creates perhaps some undue expectations out of the cyber industry about what to expect out of the tools that they see that year.
Yeah. So we have a model that we like at Query, and there's some other companies that I've seen use something similar. But when we're talking about like a new feature, a new thing that we're going to launch, we'll call out the feature. We'll then call out the problem that it solves, and then we'll be specific about the technology that enables that. And so in the feature part, here's where we let the marketers kind of run a little bit. Yeah, let's, use terms like, hey, it's the AI generated and, whatever, right? Great. But then what problem does it solve? If you can't nail that, who cares? And then what technology is actually underneath that? And I think being clear about the technology that actually underpins the feature that is solving a specific problem. I mean, look, if you can do those 3 things, I think as a buyer, I very much appreciate that, right? Because that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out in my head. I come to the table with a problem. I'm trying to understand the features and, how is it going to deliver? And so I think that's a feature problem solve technology. That's an interesting way to look.
I love how, like, I've stole that from you, and I think Mike actually has done this as well, where somebody will come to me, and people have probably heard me do this on stream during some of my previous streams, where they'll talk about, like, this is, hey Neal, what's your advice on this? And my question back to them is, like, what problem are you trying to solve? Because I do think that is a question as people are looking at making predictions. They're like, I don't really care about solving a problem. I saw somebody in chat talk about, like, I just want to smash a whole bunch of buzzwords together and see if that generates the hype around a product.
yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a lot of that out there, but I do think that I am on the lookout, and I am optimistic that there will be some winners in 2025. And by winners, I mean, like, as a user, if we channel cyber for a minute, as a defender, I think that there will be some advantages created by the use of AI and other emerging technologies. But I don't think it's a silver bullet.
So you mentioned the efficiency side, that you thought could potentially happen. When you say that statement, can you, we don't have to say vendor names, we don't have to say product names or anything like that. If we had to talk about, to your point, problems to be solved or specific features that solve specific problems, what do you think is some realistic problems that we could see AI solve outside of the summarization and the efficiencies and things like that? What else do you think we could see potentially AI solving this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll tell you, one of the ones that Query is focused on, that we've been spending a bunch of time on, is inevitably when we go work with big enterprises, so think like Fortune 2000 companies, they still have a very high volume of alerts. And the alerts are coming from an increasing number of places. So, you certainly, a lot of teams will try to centralize log data, write rules on it, so alerts come out of your SIEM and things like that. But alerts come out of a lot of other places as well. Your IT platforms, SaaS platforms, cloud platforms, even point solutions are producing alerts. And there's still a lot of alert fatigue out there, and a lot of teams are having to make decisions about which of these alerts actually even get looked at and which ones don't. And so I think that this is an area, think of it as like alert triage, that could be performed with a series of actions. So you might say, well, okay, hold on a second, Matt, that sounds like automation, or like, I feel like I've been to this movie before. Like, are you talking about SOAR tools? No, I mean, no, not necessarily. Like, again, I think the problem still exists in the world, that there's a lot of alerts, and as a defender, we need to understand which ones are creating risk for the company, and therefore what needs to be done about it right now. I think that that's a place where you can make use of a lot more data, because the more data you have, ultimately, the easier it is to solve that problem to a point. But if you have a high volume of these alerts and you need a lot of data to understand it, well, then you can only work so many of those. And so back to the efficiency and effectiveness, there are a lot of capabilities, and I'm thinking LLMs in particular right now, being used alongside of other things like our federated search capabilities that can expand the field of vision and the reach for data, but also make it easier to quickly orient and understand that data. Does that make sense? You're in this world a lot too, Neal. Like, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am cautiously optimistic on AI's role in the SOC, and Cybertooth here in chat, he talks about false positive rates, and I know him very well. I know the SOC he works in and kind of the stack that he has, and I think that's at the heart of it, at the ground floor, at the tactical level, the SOC defenders who are on the front lines day in and day out, they're tired because their tools aren't working for them. And as a matter of fact, the demands that get put on cyber tooling to, quite frankly, stay out of the news begets that the pain points have to trickle down to the analyst on the front lines on a day in and day out perspective. And so I am constantly on the lookout in my mind, for AI that makes the frontline troops able to do what it is about protecting the organization better. Because I think that's my frustration when it comes to AI is that you said it perfectly, like we're never going to remove the person out of the job, but we need to get to the answers that make this SOC analyst and thousands of other SOC analysts out there, their lives easier. And so I say all that to say, if I still think that GPTs have a great place in summarizing data. I think that if they can help you summarize, the thousands and the tens of thousands of things that you see in your SIM console or in your EDR console or whatever it is, and help you make those decisions faster, I think that is a win for a security analyst on the end of the day. I think if there is a way that you can gather telemetry and artifacts to, if we think about incident response from a contain, eradicate, recovery perspective, how quickly can I identify the things that I need to contain? How quickly can I come up with my remediation steps to eradicate the threat? And then how quickly can we move on and get the business back up and running? Like, those are areas where I would love to see more and more focused advancement in AI. Yeah. I could get on a soapbox on this one all day long, but I think that's where our focus needs to be, is how do we make that analyst happier doing the work that they have to do on the front lines on a day in and day out basis.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I see a comment in there on human in the loop, right? I mean, I think that it's absolutely, and I think human directed is an interesting way to look at AI. One of the things that I do think we need to all be open to is that as more solutions are built that are like AI native and kind of built around the power of LLMs, I think there's going to be some different ways to solve problems. And so like how can you like foundationally maybe take a different approach? And I think human directed is an interesting way to think about that. I think since this is a prediction stream, I think that we will also see in 2025 that there will continue to be, and you're already seeing this in some areas, but like AI agent fatigue. And this is already been documented in some places where there's like there's kind of this, like, when you first start using it, it's like, oh wow, this is great, and then something inevitably happens that the person using the AI is like, oh, that answer is not right, and I know that answer is not right, and now I'm like questioning whether any of this has been right? And so there's this, like, how do you go about that? And if you follow the space, like, it's really so early days in all of this that, again, I kind of like geeking out with all this stuff. But there was an interesting paper published in December that was on AI scheming. Did you? I
don't know this one. No.
All right, it was Apollo Research. Again, I'll send you the link. You can share it out. But it basically was proving that if you take an LLM, that it will scheme and do devious things. And so in this case, scheming was, I think, and this is my recollection of it, so I think this is directionally right, but it's like scheming is where is like the model's ability to deviate from like the explicit instructions that you give it. And so it's like kind of, humans would call this lying or manipulating, right? But it's really interesting in that, like, in pretty much every example, and they tested all kinds of different models, and weren't just picking on one company in particular, but like the LLM could be basically tricked into scheming in order to meet its objective.
Yeah.
Now, some people might say, this is starting to sound a little bit like humans. Are we talking about humans?
Yeah. Skynet. Everybody goes Skynet all of a sudden.
But I don't know. It's pretty interesting. And so, like, that's led to people trying to figure out, like, all right, how do I implement controls around this? And like, there's this interesting thing called chain of thought, right? Where they're trying to figure out how do I like chain all these different responses and particularly put like guards and gates around it. And it's a really
so I didn't read that paper, but I read something similar where I think it was a chess game or something where they were trying to teach AI chess, or they were trying to have AI do something chess related, and the AI ended up cheating at chess to win. Like the directive was to win the chess game, and it ended up cheating to win at the chess game.
Yeah, well, that's right. But yes, and so it kind of brings into question all kinds of things about how you're defining the outcome.
Yes,
right? And like that's there's I could get on my soapbox for that.
So before you get, I was gonna say, before you get on your soapbox, I did come up with some very, very humorous things that were predicted in 2024, and I have to get them out into the public so that people can hear some of the ridiculous things about AI that were predicted. And so like this is gonna be rapid fire. I'm gonna say this, and I want the immediate look on your face and the response for everybody to see it. Okay, so here was a 2024 prediction specifically around AI and cybersecurity. You ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
This is a quote. Near elimination of phishing attacks through AI detection.
Oh wow! All right. So where's our responders in chat? Are you all like, have you all like gotten really good at chess or really good at guitar or really good at your hobby because there's no more phishing attacks to work? So.
Yeah, and so this is another one I'll get you take on. This is another quote that I saw from another prediction for last year. AI-driven predictive cybersecurity.
Okay, so there's the feature. What problem does that solve?
No more cyber attacks, Matt. Could you imagine if we had predictive cybersecurity? We'd be all out of work.
I predict that would be amazing, Neal. I predict it would be amazing.
I predict that if that ever happened, that would also be amazing.
I mean, you laugh, but you might have just predicted what the number one tagline is going to be at RSA 2025. I don't know. We'll see.
You know what? I'm glad you're going to RSA and not me. So Shady Puppy and Twitch did ask this one around AI, less technological, I think, and more kind of just in terms of the impact that all this technology has on advancements or in the world around us, right? So with advancements of AI, do you think it'll become more environmentally efficient, or is that even a concern when it comes to AI companies? Kind of what's your take on that?
It's actually somewhat of a concern. I mean, again, I'm not an expert in this area, but a lot of what I read about the amount of resources that are going to be required to power the compute around all of this is somewhat concerning. And I think also like an example. Somebody asked me this question recently. An example I gave, like if you remember back when Uber was kind of first becoming commonplace, I remember thinking like, wow, this is amazing. I can take like a car service, a private car service, black car, from like one place to the next for like $25. Like this is amazing. Yeah. Well, come to find out, you can't do that. Like back in those days, it's kind of come out that they were subsidizing those rides 50, 75, 90%. And, now you pull up Uber and you look to take like a private car, black car type service from, 5 minutes down the road, it might be $75 or $100 because they're not subsidizing anymore. So sometimes I wonder when I'm, banging away on Perplexity, like what's the real cost of that, of that query? It's interesting. It's interesting. It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
It is. And I know that somebody in LinkedIn, Ryan over in LinkedIn, talks about Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank wants to create a huge AI data center in Canada that's powered by natural gas and solar. And so I think that I'm glad that we're seeing not just the technical innovation around AI, but this harkens back, Matt. I don't know. I'm sure you remember this too, when Microsoft started to put data centers into tanks in the ocean to try to keep them cool as a way to try to continue to expand stand out the data center game back in those days. So couple good questions, other comments from Chad. Dragonoff says, I hope Matt will show us some Slash riffs before the end of the stream. We did have Jeremy sing to us. I won't ask you to pull out one of the guitars and play, but we may have to do that next time you're on stream.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm based in Georgia, and I think it was last week or something. I'm in Atlanta that AWS announced like an 11 or $12 billion investment in data centers, right? Specifically for cloud and AI. So to your point, like it's kind of crazy.
All right, last thing, Matt, and then we'll close out. The Australian, which is an online newspaper out of, shocker, Australia, did an article 3 days ago titled AI, Inflation, Cyber Threats Keep CEOs Awake at Night. So let's close out this prediction stream, if I can learn to talk straight. And let me ask you, if I was with the Australian, I was interviewing you right now, and I asked you specifically, Matt, what keeps you awake at night? What keeps you awake at night, sir?
I think generally speaking, I sleep pretty well, but I think, if you're asking from the CEO chair, what keeps me awake at night, I think it's kind of always like the people in our company. Like, are we doing enough to keep the people that we have focused in the right areas? Are they, growing in their jobs? Are they learning? Are they applying those learnings as fast as possible? Are we doing our part to make their experience here great? Because if we are, then I firmly believe that they'll do amazing things for us. And so I think there's some huge opportunities in 2025, and I'm really excited about it. So I sleep pretty well.
Awesome. I sleep pretty well too. I've never really taken the time to answer that, like what keeps me awake at night. I don't really there's an argument to be made that maybe we've all become so numb to, these cyber attacks that have happened around us that they don't keep us awake at night anymore. Maybe there's some young pups out there who are fresh and new to cyber, and every cyber threat keeps them awake at night. But, this world's going to keep turning, and, attackers are never going to go away. And that's just part of the job, is to just keep banging away and doing stuff that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Matt. I absolutely appreciate you, sir. Any final words for the chat before I send you along your way?
No, I mean, again, thank you. Like, you're awesome. I love working with you. Thank you very much for building this community. I love to see all the great work that you're doing. I think you're helping those of us that are in cyber and have been in it for a long time find a lot of refreshing commentary from you. And I think that you're ushering in a whole new generation of people that are going to be even smarter and more creative than we are. And hopefully they'll be calling BS on, all the bad cyber marketing, and they'll be like, well, wait a second, what problem does that feature really solve, and what's the technology underneath it? But you're awesome. Thank you. Stay awesome.
We'll see you later, Matt.
See ya. Cheers, Matt.
All right, that was awesome. Good. I love having Matt on stream. Again, very pragmatic, always very realistic, very down to earth. I absolutely appreciate him taking time out of his super busy schedule to chat with you all. Hopefully you got a lot out of that. Again, wouldn't be a 2025 without some form of a prediction stream. Hopefully, you got some good information from that. I'm excited for this year. Second stream of the year, still feeling pretty awesome about it. Don't forget, we're going to be streaming tomorrow. Tea with a Hacker, our normal Friday morning AMA. I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning, hanging out and doing some awesome stuff with some nice tea. With that being said, thanks everybody for the great questions. Whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still learning, stay awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.
Baby, you should come spend time with me if you want.